Welcome back to the program. Well, National Cabinet met today and they finally agreed on something, a plan to ban children under the age of 16 from social media. Joining me now is Liberal MP Andrew Wallace. Andrew, good to see you. Thank you for joining me. The Coalition has supported this policy. How does something like this get enforced or implemented?
More than 12 months ago, Peter Dutton and David Coleman introduced a private member's bill into the Parliament to introduce an age assurance trial for social media. They refused to accept that 12 months ago. Then in July of this year, we tried to, in fact, we announced that a Dutton government would, in its first 100 days, introduce a minimum age of 16. And even back then, the government didn't support it. But I am absolutely elated that this is going to happen because there are too many kids who are suffering from the effects of social media. We know there's a big difference between what a 13-year-old has the maturity of dealing with all of the nonsense that goes on social media and the maturity of a 16-year-old. But at the moment, anybody, doesn't matter whether they're 5 years of age, they could click on a social media account and say that they are 13 and, hey, presto, they've got an account. That's got to stop. And so the government is finally going to introduce this minimum age of 16, and we think that that is a very good thing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of parents we've spoken to as well are welcoming this as a relief for them because they're struggling to navigate social media in this day and age. So it'll be interesting to see how it does get implemented. Now, look, I want to ask you, the RBA governor this week warned Labor again about its spending contributing to inflation. I've got to say Labor is not only sending us broke, but they're clearly sending us backwards. Andrew, rates are on hold for now, but how much has the central bank been left in an impossible position by Labor's economic mismanagement?
Well, Danica, the Reserve Bank only has really one tool to try and tame inflation, and that's interest rates. And we've seen time and time again that the Reserve Bank has been willing to increase interest rates to try and put a lid on spending. But, you know, what we've had, and I've said this many times to you included, is that we've got the Jim Chalmers and the government with both feet on the accelerator, and we've got the Reserve Bank with both feet on the brakes. We've seen this just this last week, where the Prime Minister announced $16 billion worth of debt forgiveness for tertiary students.
Absolutely. Before we let you go, I want to ask about Donald Trump's victory. Now with Trump back in power, does Kevin Rudd have to go? I mean, he's such an egomaniac. He won't leave willingly. But Andrew, Rudd this week was furiously, desperately deleting a social media post which called Mr. Trump the most destructive president in history. Why doesn't he just admit defeat and leave?
Well, Danica, I'm going to run a slightly different argument to what you might expect on this. Last year, I was posted to the UN on secondment. I actually saw Kevin Rudd working the halls of Congress for AUKUS, and this is going to surprise you, but he is actually doing a good job in Washington. And, you know, I know that there will be a change of management in the US, but at this point in time, he has been doing a good job. And look, you know, although he's a former Labor Prime Minister, when he takes on that role as representing Australia to the United States, which is our most serious and senior diplomatic posting, we need to get behind Team Australia. I'm not going to stand here and play.
I do agree, but I mean, can realistically, is that relationship going to be tenable now after what he said about Donald Trump?
Well, time will tell. Ultimately, you know, they're both big boys, and hopefully that they can bury the hatchet. You know, look, Kevin is now a very experienced politician, a very experienced diplomat. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's doing a good job. He's doing a good job for Australia. He's doing a good job, particularly in relation to AUKUS. And I think we need to give him the benefit of the doubt. And look, if the relationship sours or further sours and can't be put back on the rails, well, then we might need to have another conversation then.
All right. Well, look, time will certainly tell. Andrew Wallace, good to have you on. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks, Danica.
Well, next